My name is Chris McGuigan. I'm a WinZero member, and tonight I'll be introducing our guest speakers. Our first disruptor tonight is Miles Lochhead. And Miles is a Mittagong local. A number of you may already know Miles. He started his working life as a farmer before continuing study to master's level in sustainable agriculture. Miles moved organically into an environmental role with council and helped to plant the resource recovery seed in the mines, which saw the Resource Recovery Centre at Moss Vale commence in 2001. And I think we're all aware of the good work that's done out there. Miles was involved with local government, and then he moved on to resource recycling of electronic waste in a social enterprise in Wollongong, gathering more awards and gaining recognition in a world that was starting to become very interested in the potential of renewables and waste. I'd like to acknowledge that in addition to being ahead of the curve in energy and environment and helping set up this organisation, which evolved from an earlier entity, CanWin, Miles has been an active community representative wearing various hats. So I'd like to welcome Miles and ask you to come up and tell us all about being a disruptor.
Thanks, Christine. Who's got solar? Put your hand up and then leave it up. Right up so we can see. Geez, just about everyone. Who's got a battery? Put your other hand up. Electric car. Only a few EVs. But if we ask this question in a few years' time, because of the adoption of solar, and I don't necessarily say it's necessarily the best thing that we can do as a society because it's expensive, there's issues with the waste that comes out of it, but it's a really good tool in the transition to renewable energy. So if we ask that question in 5 years' time, as opposed to what we did in the SunCrowd program, we asked that in the SunCrowd program, and only about 2% or 3% of the audience put their hand up. So it's changing. I've been a part of Fossil Off since the early days, and we had an efficiency rating on our house, and we scored 10, which is pretty unbelievable actually, because we're in a 35-year-old brick veneer home whose walls leak. We've got insulation in the ceiling. We've double glazed the whole house, so it's very insular. It leaks heat seriously, and if you had an infrared camera, you'd see that. So I don't know how we got 10. We live on the side of the jib. We're facing north. Our house is angled 10 degrees off north. So that was our house in 2009. Nice, clean, beautiful roof. And in September 2010, we started with 2.3 kilowatts of energy. We paid for the system in less than 2 years because we were getting 66.5 cents feed-in tariff. So it was a ridiculous amount of money in those days. And at the same time, we put a solar thermal hot water system in. And that's been fantastic. These days, most people put in heat pumps. Solar thermal doesn't really pay off. It's expensive, but that's been going for 14 years. It's run on a little Grundfos pump that failed in the first year and was replaced on warranty. But for 14 years, that's been warming up our water and preheating our water. And in most of the year, when the sun is kind to us, it heats up our hot water and we boost it with electricity. And all done on solar and all done with a press of a button. We moved to the SunCrowd program in 2017 and upgraded about 5.8 kilowatts. One of the positive things, we chose in 2017 to go all Australian, so we bought Tindo panels, and then in November 2021 we ended up with 18 kilowatts. When we upgraded in 2021, we bought the only other Australian manufacturer of solar panels is M Squared, who have come into some regulatory problems and they can't produce for this Australian market at the moment, so they're actually exporting panels to America. So Tindo is the only Australian manufacturer of panels, and our roof is covered in Tindo and M Square panels. I've got two friends in the room that are on par with 18 kilowatts, another friend who's over in Western Australia at the moment, he's got 18 kilowatts, and we have great fun comparing our production on Bluebird days. And in doing that upgrade, we spent a lot of money. It's about in the late $30,000 worth. There's been some subsidies involved, especially in the early days. But all the recent ones have been at cost because that's what the system is these days. We put a battery in with the upgrade. Over the life of our solar journey, we've generated 119 megawatt hours of electricity. 33 came from the original 2.3 kilowatt system. The end-phase system was put on in 2017 has generated 47 megawatt hours, and the Fronius, that's only been on for 2.5 years, has already generated 38, and it's going ahead in leaps and bounds. So we're set to produce a hell of a lot of energy from our new system. No more stats that are really that important, other than the fact that we've generated $32,000 based on 27 cents a kilowatt hour over the life of our system, and that means we're producing around $6,000 of electricity per annum. When we upgraded the solar, I was working for myself, and I was moving towards retirement of buying an electric car, and that's been a fantastic experience. I won't mention the brand, but it's a Tesla. Anyway, it's phenomenally efficient, a brilliant car to drive, and the technology is mind-blowing. Every couple of months, sometimes a couple of weeks, we get an upgrade in the software, and it does new things, and it's mind-blowing. But the important thing is the bottom line here, which over the life of our system, and again, these are net figures based on what we've been paid through incentives, through feed-in tariff, we've made $14,500 from selling solar. Not from what we've saved. We haven't paid for electricity for 15 years. That's a net $14,000 in cash. We've paid for all of our old systems. Our new system is well and truly on track to paying for itself, and the battery that's 7 years old now, with a degradation of only 2% in 7 years, which is absolutely phenomenal, is getting close to paying for itself too. So if anyone tells you solar doesn't pay, send them my way. This is a monitoring device we've had for about 12 years. It works off a CT clamp, and it tells us in an instant or on a cumulative fashion how much electricity we're using right now, or how much we're generating. Now, those few people that put their hand up that don't have solar, be wary. There's a lot of shonks out there. Anything that's on a growth curve, people take advantage of that and abuse the system. So there's a thing called crap solar on Facebook. If you're into social media, just read some of the stories there and stay away from the people that have generated those stories. But more importantly, go to this guy, Finn Peacock. He's been in the game for a long time. He's highly regarded. He'll recommend 3 installers for your area, and you'll get 3 quotes. You might choose not to take them, but it'll be a guide as to what you can do, and it's really safe and secure. Warranty, how much you spend, the size, should all come back from, you've got to trust them, you've got to believe them. If you're going to get a solar system, you need to vary the way you use energy. That's the smart way to do it. You need to have meters to show you what's happening, and you need to rethink how you use electricity, because the way we used electricity up till today, and 2 years ago, 5 years ago, was linearly based on a peaking system, not on a fluctuating system of renewables.